this is the 2020, the first year of the C8 Corvette. So the 2020 model year, it has the Z51 Performance Package, which, unlike with a lot of vehicles, it's not just some cosmetic changes and some interior additions. It also increases the horsepower by a reasonable amount under the hood. And here's the thing with the C8 Corvette. It handles better than any Corvette ever has in the past. And that's the big advantage of the Z51 Performance Package, is that it's meant to allow the C8 to bring in quicker lap times or quicker elapsed times out on the drag strip, depending on if you're on the road course or on the drag strip, without having issues of overheating, issues with braking. All of that is meant to be eliminated. Everything is just taken care of based on what all is here with that package. Yes, I'm going to tell you all about it. It also has a greatly improved and updated interior from the C7 Corvette, something that was badly needed. But there is one gong sound that you're going to get from me. I'm going to sound the gong on one thing here in the interior. In fact, we'll go ahead and hop inside and I'll tell you what that is. I do love the fact that everything is angled towards the driver. I like the shape of the steering wheel. You've got that flat bottom there to make getting in and out easier. And then obviously you've got the stripe right here, just not necessarily needed, but that way when you're tracking the car, you know where the steering wheel is and everything like that. It's more cosmetic in this case than it is with a race car, but it gives it that race car flair. Not necessarily needed like it is in a race car, but here is what the gong is. Right here. Everything here has to do with the air conditioning system. Okay, why is that a bad thing? This area should have some kind of controls for the functionality of the vehicle itself. Why did Chevrolet not do something with that? At least that's my personal opinion. You can tell me what you think about that down in the comments section. It may not matter to a lot of you, but to me, that means something very important. And one more gong to sound here. It has to do with the exhaust. The fact that when you're in the interior, you don't get that same visceral experience that the C7 was capable of when it had the performance exhaust with the exhaust crackles that you could hear really well from the interior. That doesn't mean they're not here, it just means you can't hear them in the car the same way you could with the C7. Obviously, the overall lines of the body, in my opinion, more racy than ever before. It looks like a mid-engine car. And I know there's a lot of varying opinions from people that are saying, I don't like that, and that's fine. I understand. Everybody has their preferences. For whatever reason, I tend to be the kind of person who likes more modern, and so I kind of just like the newer stuff. But I do like the lines here and how everything here on the front end accentuates movement of the vehicle. Whether it's the lines with the center of the hood that goes up, this line just fades away and disappears. And then you have the accentuating lines on each side. It comes up just a little bit, falls back down, works its way up towards where the headlight and the side of the fender is, and then works its way over. And obviously the headlights as well, doing the exact same thing with these nice daytime running lights. You've got the headlights here, the projector beam headlights right there, but it still looks very nice. Front end, everything is functional here. It's all nice. It's all very well put together. A very nice front splitter. And one thing you will find here that is very important on these C8 Corvettes, depending on where you live and what you have to drive up and over or into with your driveway, it does have the front lift. And if I remember correctly, somebody can tell me in the comments section if this is right. I may not be. But via satellite, you can actually have the car memorize 20 different locations. I think it's 20. It might not be. Tell me if I'm wrong about that. Tell me the number if you know. But 20 different locations, and it will automatically, via satellite, raise the front end before you get to those particular locations that you frequent. And here is a look at the remote, and you might say to yourself, if you're familiar with the C8, wait a second, I haven't seen that red before. Where did that come from? That actually is part of a little kit that the owner bought from Amazon. I will try and get the link for you from that, and I think there's different colors, but you can actually buy that and install it yourself. So here's what we have. We have lock, unlock. You can open the front trunk or the front and the rear as well. This is not the convertible, so obviously we'll get a good look at the engine shortly. But it also has remote start. So let's give you a listen as to what the exhaust sounds like when you light it off, because you'll actually get some crackles out of it from back here. At least I did earlier. Let's see what happens. There you go. I think you get the idea. We did get a little bit of an exhaust crackle out of that startup. When it comes to cargo space, let's show you exactly what you have here. The thing I like about the front trunk here is that when you open it, you don't have to look for any kind of a release or anything like that. You do have a reasonable amount of space in here, obviously combined with what we have in the rear. There's 12.6 cubic feet. Here's where you will add windshield washer fluid. Had to make sure I was saying that correctly. And it is a little bit of an awkward angle to get to unless you come from this side. Now it's not so bad right there. I would use a funnel if I did that. And if somebody can actually fit in here, here is the button to release the trunk. If somebody gets stuck in here, I don't know how that's even possible. And then if you're going to use a trickle charger on your C8, that is what the port is for right here. And we'll work our way around to the rear. Let's see if we can get that closed and open the rear cargo area. Now there is one interesting thing here. With the spoiler that comes with this model, it makes it a little bit more challenging to open the rear cargo area. At least for me, I can't quite get my fingers under there as easily. There I did at that time, but it was just a little bit more challenging. Here is the rest of your cargo space. Pretty decent area, 12.6 cubic feet, a little bit less than 3 cubic feet smaller than what the C7 was. It was 15 cubic feet. So you really didn't lose a whole lot, but there is a reasonable amount of space back here. And when you close this down, it has the soft close function. So all I have to do is close it like that and you can see that it drops itself. And for those who always ask, yes, there are turn signal indicators built into the power folding side view mirrors. They are power adjustable. You can see that turn signal indicator right there. I hope it shows up on screen as it should. And with all of the black accent pieces on here, I really like how that looks. And if you're wondering how do you get into it, there's actually a pad under here similar to what the C7 had, but it's under this area. You just push that and open the door. And there are ways to get into the vehicle if the battery dies. As far as using the key that is stored within the remote, there are also the same releases that were in the C7 located right down here if you get trapped in the vehicle and the battery dies as well. With the Z51 Performance Package, you will find magnetic selective ride control dampers to help with handling. There is also the traction management system for even better grip when taking those turns out on the road course. And to further increase and enhance traction ability, we had the 245 on the width tires with the 35 series sidewall on the front. Now I teased you a little bit earlier about what's under the bonnet back here, we'll say. Seems to fit better, doesn't it? This is the 6.2 liter V8. And if you use the dual mode exhaust, you actually bump the horsepower from 490 up to 495 with this Z51 package. And the torque goes from 465 pounds-feet up to 470. It does have a third radiator to help out on the track because you're intended to track these cars, so that's why the third radiator is here. There are also changes to the gearing, and obviously everything is meant to help with handling, aerodynamics with everything on the car. It's not just for looks. The way the front end is made, just everything here, it's meant to be purposeful, but at the same time, it still looks really good. I talked earlier about the enhancements here for the interior, looking a lot more modern, but you also have some great features. You have seat memory not only here on the driver's side, but as you can see, the same thing is located on the passenger side. That's a big advantage. And for a vehicle that starts at less than $65,000, if you buy one brand new for 2023, that's pretty impressive. Obviously, these C8s in 2020, I believe, were $59,995 for the base model. Obviously, you wouldn't get the Z51 package for that, but that's the case. Very nice look with the contrast stitching here I just like the contrast of the interior here overall with the mixture of the colors. You have the pedals down there that have the racy look and feel. The dead pedal is nice and large, which is always a big advantage. Now, I talked about the settings that you have as far as memory goes. It memorizes seat position, steering wheel position. This is a tilt and telescopically adjustable steering wheel. It's power adjustable, but the cool thing here is, watch what happens when I hop inside. I'm going to hit the button to start the engine, and everything is going to return back into place where it needs to be. The seat moved up just a little bit, and the steering wheel, as you can see, came down into place. Now, there is obviously a lot you can do here. You've got the head-up display right there. I hope that's showing up well on the screen. Yes, I am authorized to park here. I actually am. Got to say a special thanks to my friends at Ron Dunnigan's Professional Fitness for letting me use the parking lot here. So you can see a very racy and nice and customizable dashboard. The digital dash, you have the nice large shifter paddles. I still wish they would actually stay with the steering column instead of being mounted to the steering wheel. That way, no matter where the steering wheel is, you know where the shifter paddles are. At least that's what I think. Some people might say, oh, you're just not a good enough driver, Tom. So maybe that's the case. Now, we do have the screen. Like I said earlier, everything is tilted, pointing towards the driver. So quite a bit going on here. It looks very nice. You do have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, but keep in mind, if you get a 2020 C8, it wasn't until 2021 when Chevrolet rolled out the wireless versions of CarPlay, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. So just something to think about. Wireless, or excuse me, built-in navigation, I should say, is here. People ask about that, so I make sure to cover that in these videos. And then you can obviously go in and take a look at the multiple views of the cameras. So obviously, depending on what you want to do, well, you can see every single angle of this car. It does have the parking sensors and all that good stuff, so obviously you can do whatever you want to do there. Now, there is one thing I'm looking forward to doing on our test drive, which is right here. We're going to go in and actually record what's going on out on the road. So I'm going to show you that information from a couple of different angles. I think that will be pretty darn cool. But overall, a very nice interior. You do have the push button shifter here that looks like that of the 10th generation of the Honda Accord. Sorry, Chevrolet, not trying to be mean. And then we have a couple of different one-touch features here. You can turn your traction control on and off right there. You can adjust the front end, and you can also bring your cameras up right there. You can also change the driving modes as well. We've got our mode selector right down here. In fact, let's go back on our screen and we'll make a couple of changes here so we can show you what's going on. So I like being in track mode. Obviously, that is the best mode to drive in, but as you change the driving mode, you'll see the dashboard is going to change a little bit as well. So ultimately, a really neat setup here. But here we go. We're going to go with the PDR right here. You can go in and make a lot of changes. You can look at your recordings, which I don't have any right now, but you can go in and look at those. Well, let's see. Has it been recording the whole time? No, it hasn't. Okay. You have to actually push that to stop or start. In fact, we've got that right there. So I'll just show you what it looks like real quick just so you can see, and then we'll go in. Let's see if we can get that to play for us. I don't know if it'll actually, yeah, there it goes. Turn back into place where it needs to be. The seat move. Okay, so you can hear and see all of that. It'll be a lot more fun once we get out on the road in just a little bit. But as far as the overall interior goes, everything pretty easy to get to, pretty easy to use. There's your cup holders that you can conceal away if you want to. You do have the center console right here, so that obviously makes a difference. A little bit of space in there, not a lot, but one thing that is kind of interesting, it really makes it like a typical supercar in that your wireless charging pad is back here. Kind of hard to get to, but I guess that was almost an afterthought, really. Not necessarily a big deal with the C8, but that's the way it is. It really is like a supercar. And if you go to open the glove box, well, guess what? You're going to have to open it like this. That's where the button is right there. There's nothing down here to reach onto and grab like we're so used to doing in so many ways. But I know if you're like me, you want to get out on the road for a test drive and have a little bit of fun. We're going to enjoy that a lot. Let's get going. All right, here we go. We've got a little bit of a unique view today. I hope this looks good, but We're trying two different views. We're going to use the GoPro, and we're also going to use the camera on the car itself. So we're actually going to do all of that. We're going to have a little bit of fun here and just see what happens. So I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and do a 0 to 60 run here and see what happens. This thing spun the tires pretty good. Wow. I'll tell you what, the visceral experience of just driving, you may not get the exhaust sound, but I'll tell you what, that is mighty impressive. Boy, and the handling in this car is just insane. It handles so well. It handles like an all-wheel drive vehicle. It will really get the blood pumping, and wow. The 0 to 60, if the Draggy picked it up, I guarantee you was not all that impressive because it spun the tires hard. The back end came out a little bit. That was fun. I have to say, that was quite fun. You don't necessarily have to drive like that with one of these to have a good time, but for the sake of the video, I figured all of you would enjoy seeing that. Now you can see we're coming up on the corner here that I love. I love cruising through this corner. I'm not going to go too crazy with it because I didn't pay much attention to how much tread was left on the tires. But as you would expect, I mean, no body roll. I barely had to give any steering input to go into that corner, but I tell you what, it is insane how awesome this car handles, unlike any Corvette before, and obviously because of the way it's balanced. But if you've driven an all-wheel drive vehicle, a high-performance vehicle such as a Lamborghini Huracan or something like that, and you hop inside here, it feels like it's all-wheel drive. You can't really tell except for the fact that it blew the tires off of it back there. I'm probably going to have to give my buddy some tire money now, besides just some gas money, but some tire money too for this test drive. But I tell you what, that was pretty impressive. We're going to hit it one more time here and just... Wow. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. This is why I have a race car that I'm working on building, because of the fact that I'd probably do this a little bit too much if I owned one of these. It's probably a wise idea to just enjoy it. So I tell you what, it really is the best bang for the buck when it comes to literal performance, handling, all of the capabilities. You can have so much fun on the track with it, whether it's on the drag strip or on the road course, whatever it is, you can have so much fun, and you can actually up the launch RPM by simply hitting the traction control button twice. I think you have to hold it down on the second push, but it turns it off. It tells you it's in competition mode. It is absolutely insane and so much fun. Who stuck around to this point of the video, here is a bonus for you. I promised to tell you what the owner paid for this model with the mileage that's on it. $54,500. That's right. A lot of dealerships would sell this car for probably $80,000 to $90,000, maybe $95,000. So I must say, that's an impressive price. The deals are out there. If you're willing to be patient, look for them and find them. And you might not be able to get one with super duper low miles on it, but 25,000 miles is not too bad. So gotta say a special thanks to my buddy Wesley, who owns this Corvette, the C8, being kind enough to allow me to have the opportunity to borrow it for the day. And a special thanks to all of you for being kind enough to give me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn about other vehicles you may wish to consider purchasing, check out the video that's on the screen right now, and I'll see you there.